Welcome to Financial Ginger. I'm your host, Jacob Johnson, wearing my plaid as usual. If you've seen many of my plaids over the 6 months, let me know which one's been the best. I'm partial to this one, but a lot of people like my blue jacket. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Today, I am excited. I have back the first guest from episode 1, the one and only Devere Wilkey.
Good to be back.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm really excited because today we're planning to talk about some like estate planning type stuff, but like, what about when your parents die or your grandparents die? How do we deal with all the belongings they have in their home, or as some of us might call it, clutter, or some people might call it hidden gems of value. You know, it depends on what you find at the estate sale, and what to do with it. So I'm really excited to get into that because Devere has a lot of experience with that sort of stuff.
I do. I'm excited too. This is a fun topic. So
yeah, just a little bit about Devere. If you don't remember from episode 1, go back and listen to it. Devere Wilkey is a realtor with Better Home. Are you still with Better Homes?
Yes.
Cool. I was worried. I'm like, wait a second. With Better Homes and Garden Real Estate Momentum, known for helping clients navigate both the opportunity and complexity of real estate. You may remember her from a previous episode where she shared how to go from renting to owning multiple investment properties and along her mission to help others do the same. Today, Devere brings a different level of expertise. Devere grew up around estate sales and antiques through her family's shop in Spanish Fork.
Yep.
Devere developed a deep understanding of what happens to a home and everything inside after the loss of a loved one. She now helps families navigate the practical and financial decisions that come with selling, clearing out, renovating, or listing a property during emotionally difficult times. You have 3 kiddos, right?
I have 3.
And 3 doggos, right?
And 3 dogs. Yes. All beagles.
All beagles.
A trumpet of beagles is what they're called.
Really?
Yes. And they're so fun. Yeah, it's very chaotic.
A trumpet of beagles.
Yes.
That's my new favorite thing.
No, it's amazing. Yeah, and it's most definitely chaos. We're redoing our backyard right now and had to take down like their little fenced in area. So like every time we let them out, we have to like watch all 3 of them and they all go in different directions every time. And it's like, can we just get the yard fenced so this is less chaos in my life, please? So that's our biggest project we're working on.
Yeah, I saw the little excavator in your story pictures. Like, oh, that's fun. That's fun.
It's been great. We are very grateful to be able to have, you know, some yard space done, because right now it's basically just dirt everywhere. Yeah. We have a 1/3 of an acre lot, but yeah, it's taken some planning. Our latest argument was where to put the hot tub pad. So that's gonna be our next big project in the next few months. So. That's
a great argument to have. Oh no, where are we gonna put our hot tub?
Yeah.
Wait, why is Tyson wrong?
Because he wanted to put it in the middle of the yard. So I had to have our contractor be like, no, that's not a great idea.
Tyson, you're wrong.
Yeah, sorry. We love you. Yeah. So we found a compromise on that piece of the yard planning.
That's awesome. That's funny. I love it. I can't wait to have those sorts of arguments once I get a yard.
Yes.
Because you guys all know, I've got 2 condos and a townhome, and the dream is to eventually get a proper single family home. Yes. I had an interesting guest on, Tanner Gapmeyer, and he sells like the little homes. And I'm like, that could be interesting. Like, just get some land, put a little home on it, and live in that until you can build or whatever. Like, because then you can get on the land sooner before the value goes up so much.
For sure.
Yeah. And then you just have to worry about utilities. But I don't know. I'm more and more fascinated with that idea. I'm like, okay, game plan. How do I save up to do the land? Do you do land stuff too?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Every once in a while.
Because I know that's different a little bit.
It is. It's very nuanced for sure. And usually it comes down to the utilities piece of it.
Yeah.
Especially with the ADUs, not to like sidetrack into that.
Totally.
But the biggest thing is most cities don't love them like standalone. So build one in the county is usually your best option. But
yeah, go a little bit outside of normal city limits.
Yeah. But
go down to Genola.
Yes.
They'll let you do whatever you want out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody loves Genola.
I love Genola. I know. I was driving through there the other day. I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. Like, just forget.
But Kimberly and I were at the temple recently, and doing a temple session, and one of the sealer working there was from Genola.
Nice.
And we were talking about, like, I don't know how we got talking about that. We were just talking while we were waiting for someone else to come in or whatnot. And he just ranted about how great Genola was. He's like, people are moving here and some people don't love it, but I love it. Everyone should come to Genola. You get lots of land. You can have your chickens. And
it's true.
Yeah. So that's the goal. That's the dream. land and chickens. It's weird. The more I've realized, everyone wants land and chickens. Like if
It's
you don't want land and
true.
chickens, you're just not old enough or something.
You haven't turned 30 yet.
Yeah. Turn 30 and all you want is to get off the grid and to hate the government.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, we should get into the topic.
Yes.
Deborah and I go way back. So
Yes,
we
good
always talk about things. It's
Good
fun.
to catch up.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like in Costco parking lots.
I know. Good times.
It's fun. Okay. So you've seen this from both sides, growing up around estate sales and now as a realtor. What typically happens after someone inherits a home, or what are the stressors that are on their mind?
So without getting too much into like inheritance law and like the difference between a trust versus a will, all of that stuff.
We don't need to talk about all the legal stuff.
Yeah. Let's
go listen to the episode with
yes.
with Blaine Edwards, because he's an attorney.
Yes.
We talked all about that. Anyway.
So once that's established and you figure out, okay, here's the executor. Now we have, a $500,000 to $1 million worth home, but it's full of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Even if your grandparents' parents aren't hoarders, which there's a lot from that generation that
World War II changed people.
Yes. And the Depression, I mean, people saved things and reused things, which is great until you are trying to sell the house. Right. And unfortunately, most people don't see that there's value in the stuff. A lot of times they're like, we just need to get the house sold.
Yeah. Throw it all away.
Yeah. Which makes sense when you're dealing with, okay, we have $50,000 worth of stuff in the house versus, okay, the home's worth $1.2 million. Right. Yeah. And so there's some different ways to look at that. To explain my background a little bit with that. So my parents have an antique store, and about 10 years ago, I want to say, they started running estate sales for people. So they started, kind of a sub company running estate sales. So they would go in, stage the home, clean out every cupboard drawer, all of that, get the house essentially set up like a store for an estate sale, price everything, run a 2 or 3 day sale, have everything cleaned out by the end.
That sounds so cool. Doesn't that sound nice?
It's amazing. So, and it's pretty turnkey for the owners, right? So they don't really have to do a lot of work. But some of the biggest problems we run into with that, obviously you're dealing with emotionally charged people. It's a very emotional time when people are grieving, right? Yeah. You're also dealing with finances, which is emotionally charged for a lot of people. You have complex family situations and relationships. So siblings that are estranged, or a spouse that comes in later and causes problems or things like that. Every single family has something that makes it a little more complex than what maybe you
uniquely
expect.
Complex.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's like any insurance case that you're working on,
Yeah.
right? Like there's always going to be something that changes it for the individual. So that's kind of the approach with the estate sale side of it, right? And then you've also got the real estate piece of, okay, we have a house full of stuff. Do we leave enough stuff to stage the home?
Yeah.
Or do we clean it out entirely? And those are kind of the questions that are going to depend on each situation, right? And that's a great thing about working with me, or, somebody that has that estate sale experience, is you're going to be getting the nuance from both sides, tying into this situation.
Well, especially because, right, sometimes it's like, oh, if we do an estate sale, how long is that going to take?
Right.
Right. And if we do, if we need to fix up the property, how long is that going to take? Right. And sometimes there's certain urgency needs. Sometimes there's not as much urgency.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, the family is expecting this to be done by this time.
Right.
Okay, well, what sort of time frame can we do to accelerate it? Right. It's what's important to the family. Is it getting the property sold as fast as possible? Is it getting the absolute top dollar possible? Right. Is there times for repairs? Yeah. Right. It's like, oh, well, like my grandparents' house where there's toilets that need to be replaced and there's potential sinking to the foundation and weird things like that. It's like, okay, at what point is it worth just selling as is? And at what point is it worth repairing? Right. Like, I mean, I know it's obviously varies dependent very much on the exact situation, but like, are there general, like these repairs are always going to be worth it on an older house?
For sure. Yeah. It kind of just depends on the situation. And like you said, the timing, right? Yeah. Because sometimes it's not when grandma or grandpa's died, maybe they're moving into assisted living and you need to sell the house to fund that. Assisted living's very expensive, right? And so that's a burden on families that a lot of times, they do need the timing to go quickly. or maybe there's debts from, medical debts, all those kinds of things, right? Typically what I would recommend is meeting with your favorite agent, your favorite realtor, and talking through those things, right? Let's see what the specific situation is for the house. Almost always new carpet and new paint goes a long way, and it's not very expensive, but it makes a buyer feel like the house is fresh. It feels like it's been maintained a lot of times. Those things can make a big difference. Putting in a new toilet, sure, it can be a pain in the butt to have to, put in a new wax seal. But for $200, right, you're changing the vibe of the bathroom a lot of times, right? Instead of, oh, there's, 10-year-old water rings in the toilet, right? Oh, this is a bathroom I could see using every day, right? So those are kind of those,
that makes sense.
those
Right, fresh
small dollar things that can make a big difference.
Yeah. And maybe if it's not even necessarily in the value, right? Like a new toilet might not make it sell for more.
Yes.
It might help it sell quicker.
Exactly.
Right. It might get the right eyes on it.
Yeah. And the good thing too is, I've got a great partnership with a company that will come in and do those repairs and do a pay at close option.
Which is super nice.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've had them on the podcast, Make It Market Ready. You need to.
No.
They're fantastic. I'll give you their info after.
We'll connect. Just gonna leave a note really quick.
Yeah, really, really great company. So they work with a lot of local realtors, and essentially what it is they come in and will do some price analysis of, okay, this is what it would cost to get the house essentially flipped is kind of their goal, to where it is going to sell more quickly, a lot of times for more money, and a lot of times for more money than you're putting in.
Yeah.
Right. And so having a realtor that has that tie-in with them is really beneficial. And again, it's really nice when it's an estate situation, because a lot of times the home's vacant, right? So you're not having to deal with somebody living in the home, doing these renovations.
Doing repairs and
yeah. And most of the time, you've got enough equity in the home that you're not having to worry about that, right? It's like, okay, we pay at closing, the home's paid in full, like there's no mortgage on the property, things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity there for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's knowing that that's an option also helps, because like I've seen some family situations where it's like, oh, who's actually paying for this, right? And then how do we make sure that they're reimbursed once it's sold? Because I've seen situations where people are right, like or even with like nursing homes where it's like, hey, one of the kids is partially paying for this, and
out,
and then it's not in the will that they're being reimbursed, and it can get messy really quick. So yeah, if you're able to sell a home quicker or better or whatever the situation, like my grandparents, they just rented out the home after they moved into nursing home, and that worked out fine. But now it's like, okay, they've passed. There's also tenants that are going to be moving out soon. It's like, okay, now's the time to sell it and get inheritance out to all those kids.
Well, and a lot of the hard part too with selling an estate home is a lot of times when they're in those older years, there's a lot of deferred maintenance
that goes undone.
Yeah. So, I mean, just little things like you were saying, the toilets, right? Or maybe a faucet that's leaking, or just those little things that maybe they're not noticing because, they're dealing with health issues or trying to, deal with dementia, things like that. And it's really important to have that compassionate understanding. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things. So my grandparents passed away about 2 years ago, my mom's parents, and we went through all of that with, her family and siblings and home and everything. And it's just crazy how much you don't realize they're dealing with. Like, I mean, my mom and aunt were over there multiple times a week, and even still, like,
just didn't know.
You just don't realize the extent of, what those especially the mental struggles can do. I mean, the physical struggles are a little bit more visible. And so just having that compassion and that understanding. And I think when you're cleaning out a home, at least for me, you gain an understanding really of who those people were and the things that they struggled with and the things that they loved. And I don't know, it's very emotional, even for someone like me who's, separated from the family directly. It can still be very emotional.
Yeah. For me, I remember when my grandfather passed away like 7 years ago, there was like all of his journals. Right. And so I helped with digitizing a bunch of his journals and just sitting there with a scanner and just like page. And the journals were like 5 feet tall,
Yeah.
right? Like this stack of books. And that was something that we wanted to keep, obviously, and most people would find valuable. But also like some of these art pieces where it's like, oh, here's an art piece that so-and-so did when he was a kid that he had hanging in his house for 50 years. Like, are we going to estate sell that, or who wants it? Who's going to get it? Which obviously that's probably more will and trust and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, but you'd still deal with a lot of that. So interestingly, one of the things that I helped my mom with very recently, this was just a couple weeks ago, in Provo, was a family situation where it was incredibly emotionally charged. So we were not running the estate sale. Essentially, we were there as almost mediators to help disperse items to siblings.
Oh, dang.
Family. And it was very specific about the rules. So nobody could use cell phones during the time that they were there. Wow. It was kind of like a caged in, like, nobody can use cell phones. They can't contact their spouses. Like, it's just the sisters. It was, we sit down in a room and you go one by one and take your picks. And then the next room, we start with, the next sibling down. And I mean, it was very emotionally charged, but it turned out beautifully. And everyone had a good experience. One of the things that we did was we started with a prayer, which I know, kind of can be emotional for some people. But, that was something that just kind of helped set the tone for what we were doing, right? Like, we're here to honor your parents. We're here to, make sure that this goes smoothly. We don't want any hard feelings. We want to make sure everybody gets what they want from the home. And some siblings took more than others. And we just tried to make it as fair as possible with, again, everyone had to sign the rules before we started. So they knew what the rules were. Like, and
sounds very tense.
It was, but it turned out really good. And again, that's the benefit of having kind of that third party that has experience in those emotionally charged situations, because just having a third person there, like, you're a lot less likely to say things under your breath and in a sarcastic tone, right? Because you have an audience and you have someone that you're accountable to. And so
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Episode. It's like not only dealing with potentially estate sales, and was there an estate sale after that too, or did everything get divided up?
So I think they ended up doing one as the family.
Gotcha.
We didn't do it as, the estate sale company, but I mean, it was interesting to see how that family dynamic was.
Yeah, because every family's just so different.
It is, for sure. And again, there's almost always at least one sibling that causes more problems than others. Yep, that's how it goes. But
hey, this episode is brought to you by the Financial Ginger. That's me. I'm a Utah-based independent insurance broker specializing in auto and home insurance. Because I work with nearly 25 different insurance companies, I'm not locked into just one rate sheet. So I work for you, not the insurance company. We still believe in customer service. So during normal business hours, a real human answers the phone every single time. If you want a second opinion on your insurance, email jacobinsuresutah@gmail.com or call and text 801-216-8444. Again, 801-216-8444. Now back to the episode.
Yeah, one thing that I remember when my grandfather died, this was like 7 years ago, was I wanted a knife he had. Yeah. So when he thinned sugar beets in Idaho.
Okay.
And he had a knife that he got like when he was like 3 or 4 years old. Wow. And sugar beet thinning knives are like thick. And he'd had that knife for like 90 years of his life.
Wow.
And he'd resharpen them like that. And so like it was like thinner than the hilt when he had it at the end. Right. And there's like a little screw hole at the top because the sugar beet thinning knives, there's like a little hook thing you put on it so you can hook the sugar beets out of the ground when you're thinning them and cut. Anyways, but he didn't have the hook on the end. There was just the hole where it would go. But the handle, the wood handle had fallen off. So it was just like the metal rod sticking out of it. And it was still used like that.
Yeah.
And so I remember growing up watching that knife and like thinking it was so cool and hearing the story about grandpa and him talking about thinning sugar beets and his last job, him and his brother did 25 acres and they did it in less than a week. And that's a huge deal. And I don't know stats about sugar beet thinning speeds, but they were the fastest sugar beet thinners and the hardest workers, the Johnson boys. But right, I'm like, I wanted that knife and it got thrown away.
No.
It got thrown away. And I am so butthurt to this day. I'm like, oh my gosh, that knife was the coolest thing ever. Dang. Right? It was just an old rusty piece of junk to most people, but like that was one thing I really cared about. Yeah. But there's things that everyone kept, like they kept his old, before Boy Scouts, there was Trailblazers.
Yeah.
And they had like felt patches instead of like
Right.
merit badges like they had
Yeah.
now. So like we have this bag of like old Trailblazer patches that my
Cool.
grandfather had.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's, I don't know,
Well,
like some of the things are important,
right.
and
and
you want
that's
to keep them.
that's
Other things
the
you don't care.
fun thing about it too is like you never know what has significance to someone, right? Until you're in there doing it together.
Yeah.
So, I did want to talk about a few things not to do.
Yes.
Like if you are getting ready to do an estate sale or hire an estate sale company, there's a couple different options. The one my mom owns is Pinstripe Estate Services, and they mainly service Utah County, but lots of different options for Salt Lake. If you need a referral, let me know. It's really interesting because a lot of people will start with the closets and the clothing and bag it up and take it to DI or another place. Vintage clothing sells every single time. Like, don't clean anything out before the estate sale company comes. Like, that's my number one piece of recommendation. Because people think, oh, the pots and pans, nobody's going to want those. Well, they sell every single time.
Especially if you have like old cast iron
yes,
or
right,
certain like
or
Le Creuset
aluminum, exactly.
or whatever.
Like,
yeah.
you just never know. And like, let us do that part of the job. And don't worry about that yourself, right? The things you can clean out is family papers, family photos, journals, right? Those kinds of things. Office paperwork that has, sensitive information, social security numbers, things like that. Like
Tax
empty
forms.
the filing cabinets, but don't worry about the closets. Don't worry about the drawers. Like, old food storage, if it's expired, throw it away.
Yeah.
That's like one of the biggest things. Most estate sale companies will still do that as part of their service, but a lot of them will charge extra fees if there's thousands of pounds of food storage, which we run into way more often than you would ever imagine.
We are in Utah.
Yes.
Lots of food. Eggs, dried powdered eggs that expired in like 2006.
Oh no, like 1980s. I've seen stuff from the 1980s, like that expired in the 1980s.
Hard red wheat, uncracked, that's like expired in the 80s. And you're like, this had to have been made during World War II.
No, it's ridiculous. And unfortunately, a lot of times you can't even use that for like livestock. Some people like to use it for their chickens or things, but
when it's that expired,
it's not worth. So that's my my 2 cents on things to do before the estate sale company.
Things to not do.
Yes.
Don't throw away clothes.
Don't
throw
donate
away
the
pans.
clothes.
Don't donate them.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna get good money for those.
Yes.
Yeah. Or right, like the same thing, right? Maybe you're going fan beforehand and you're each getting some certain items that are sentimental. But then when you're done with that and it's like, here's all the extra stuff that isn't right. Like the paintings, right? Like my mom has this painting that my grandfather did. That's super sentimental. Yeah. And they have one of her brothers who committed suicide. They've got a bunch of art that he did. Yeah. And that's super important to the family. Most family members have a piece of art that he did, original stuff. Liquid lead is the style of art. And it's absolutely like, cool. It looks like photographs.
Wow.
Like he has one of Keira Knightley that was like 80 something plus hours of work on this picture. And it literally looks like, even down to like the little mole on the side of her cheek. Like it looks like a photo. It's amazing. So, right. Like those family heirlooms are really important. But when you get done with that and it's like, okay, there's 15 suits that are older and stuff.
Right.
It's like, that's when you're like, old suits. This is exciting.
Like, let's try and sell those for
That's cool. But I didn't even realize, like you were saying earlier, like maybe the estate planning, if there is contention about it, can help you guys figure out a solution for going through and getting items that are sentimental to each of you. That's cool. I didn't know that.
A lot of times, like, even if we don't have to do it that serious, a lot of times what we'll do is run like a family estate sale. So before it's open to the public, all the siblings and grandkids and everybody can come in and buy the items.
That makes sense.
And again, that's especially helpful if grandma's in assisted living or they need to pay for a surgery, things like that. Because it's a lot more immediate than like selling the house, right? That takes months most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
Whether it's
unless you want to short sell it and you don't, you lose a lot of money and value in that.
Yeah. So that's one good way to kind of get a jump start on, bringing funds. And then again, like you're not forking out money from the siblings, but you're still helping contribute to grandma's care, things like that. So
that's cool. That's cool
to do it that way.
I love thinking about so quick story just because this is really funny to me. One of my favorite, like, you shouldn't have eaten that sort of things.
Oh gosh.
My grandpa, this was California grandpa. Because I've got my Idaho grandparents and my California grandparents. And they're all deceased now. So no more grandparents for Jacob. I have to say that because if not, I'm going to cry. So,
Yeah.
when I went to my grandpa's house as a kid, he'd always give us butterscotch candies.
Oh.
But he literally had like a bucket in the garage and it was 80 years old
You're
at
like,
the time.
"This
But it's
is
butterscotch.
great."
It never goes bad.
Right?
And I remember eating it and like, oh, this is cool. And my mom was always like, that's kind of gross.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it tastes like butterscotch to me. I love butterscotch.
That's
Old
so
butterscotch. But
funny.
it's sugar. So it probably doesn't go as
Right?
bad like, 80-year-old hard cracked wheat would.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's so. Yeah, food storage is one of those that is a struggle. But if it's still usable,
Yeah. someone can
again,
take it. Or the
that'll
jars.
sell, right? Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, maybe there's a way you figure out dumping out all the cans of
Yes.
peaches or all the jars of peaches and sell the jars or
Yep.
keep the jars or whatever. you
Exactly.
figure.
For
So-
sure.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I don't know. Fun is the wrong word for it, but it's
It's
good
fun to
know,
me.
especially because I see a lot of people that it's months of trudging through paperwork
Yes.
and things like that. It's like getting an estate sale company to help with that and a good realtor to help with, right? Especially like this connection you
Mhm.
said with the make it better or
market
whatever it
ready,
was. Yeah, make
yes.
market ready. Where it's like
Mhm.
there's ways to do it at lower cost or even to make money that can
Yeah.
help make the process easier. Right. Like I remember my mom,
Sure.
she was talking to you about my grandparents' place and it's like, oh, there's that antique wagon that they have in their
Yeah.
backyard. And it's like, yeah, don't get rid of that. Like you can sell that and that's
Right.
more money into the estate. Like,
Right. Yeah.
right. Like there's things that have more value than you'd expect to collectors or
For
people
sure.
that like antique clothing. Or I've even seen some people where they're like, oh, like one of their claims to fame is they sold some item on eBay and it's like, oh, Stranger Things, some studio person
Yeah.
bought it because it was an antique 80s item and they needed it for the show.
For the show.
Like how cool
Yeah.
is that? Like
Yeah.
you never know what sort of
My-
things are going to happen.
My parents have had for both The Chosen and
Oh, cool.
Yellowstone. When they
Oh,
did
cool.
the 1800s Yellowstone one. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, but yeah, they've had people come in for that.
Trying to find
get-
antique pieces.
So for The Chosen, they're like a lot of the fabrics and like some of the jewelry and kind of accessories that way. So it's kind of fun to see
That is fun.
in the show. Yeah.
So, oh, we need to shout out your parents' antique shop.
Yes. Confetti Antiques and Books in Spanish Fork.
Confetti.
I was thinking this morning, I'm pretty sure it's the largest square footage wise antique store. There are larger like antique malls in Utah. But I think
individual
it's-
stores?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest store.
How big is it?
And
Like 3,000 square
no,
feet?
way more than that. I
Oh.
want to say it's like 15,000 square feet. Yeah.
Oh,
It's huge.
That's
No,
huge.
you need to
That's
go.
a warehouse.
It's amazing.
I feel
It's
bad because
so
I haven't
fun.
been. Like
No,
I've been
you
to a
need
few
go.
antique shops in like Provo.
Yeah.
And I've driven by like 3 or 4 times. I've been
Yeah.
like, oh, Kimberly, we need to go there. Like,
You
I
should.
think-
No, you should
Oh
put it
my
on your
gosh.
calendar. Take Kimberly, like set aside 2 or 3 hours because you'll need it.
yeah.
And it's a blast. I
And
mean,
go buy some antique spurs.
like whatever you need. They do have
Or don't need.
the startup suckers. So the big like suckers that you can get like a brick oven, things like that. So
Like the
even-
giant round ones, like those
No, like they're like the size of a quarter.
startup suckers.
Yeah. So startups candy from Provo.
I don't know them.
Anyway,
What the heck? What's wrong with me?
they're an old company.
Gotcha.
That basically
Does it
did
the old
hard
style way?
Yeah, hard candy, chocolates, all that kind of stuff. So they've been in Utah for a long time. And there's the startup building in Provo. It's right
I
by
know
the
the
front.
startup building.
Yeah, so that's where they started.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that's like an
So-
event venue.
It is, yes. So anyway, they sell those suckers, the big round ones that are like the old fashioned suckers.
Cool.
Those are super fun. So even if you're just like looking for something to do, you don't need anything, like go get a
It's an
sucker.
experience.
It is. They have a bathtub full of buttons.
Oh, cool.
It's amazing. My kids love it and get in it and throw buttons everywhere every single time. We spend like 10 minutes cleaning up buttons
Cleaning up
when we're
buttons.
ready to leave. But yeah, it's amazing. So
That's so cool. Yeah, actually, one of my brothers bought his engagement ring for his wife from an antique shop
Oh,
here in Utah.
it's the best.
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Like antique jewelry and stuff is just
And they do
Super
tons
cool.
of jewelry. So much jewelry. It's amazing. So like
that's cool.
turquoise and the Native American stuff. It's
And I'm sure they're gonna have like precious metals too. Like there's gonna be gold and
Yes,
silver and
yeah.
stuff like that too. That's my
Yeah.
one of my things that I've collected over the years is a very odd amount of old silver quarters and half dollars. And I've got
Nice.
some full dollars and
yeah,
things like that. But I just think they're so cool. Like seeing Eisenhower on a coin.
they
like,
are.
it's just
Yeah.
it's just
No,
different because they're not very
it's-
common.
It's amazing. It's a good it's a good background to have. I love it. I love that piece of who I am and embrace it very fully.
It's cool. It's cool knowing. Yeah. Okay, cool.
I went to an estate sale yesterday with my 5-year-old and filled my car. So
love it. That's fun. And then you also, I mean, I imagine some of that stuff ends up going to.
Yeah. So I have a couple
your own area.
Yeah. I have 2 booths in the antique store plus like a jewelry case. So I get to
fun.
Do that as my side gig. It's
well, and I always see you throwing things on Facebook Marketplace too.
Always. Yeah.
It's fun. Oh, I love it. Okay, cool. So there are people to help when that's something that's one of the reasons why I connect. Like we need to do another episode is I know personally, but also I've seen so many people like, right, we've got an aging population. A lot of people don't know what to do when their parents pass away or when they need care. It's like, there are people that can help walk you through that, whether it's, hey, you can rent your home for now. Right. Like that'll bring enough income. Right. That's what my grandparents did for I think like a year and a half before they passed. It was like, well, we don't need to sell the house now.
Yeah.
We don't have to, right. We can postpone repairs and things we need to worry about. Let's just get some rental income and that can help supplement the Social Security and other things that they've got. And then we can worry about it later. Right. And if we get to a point where we need to sell the house, we can do that. And so I think it's just nice to know. And a lot of people think, oh, I have to clean out my house before I can sell it. And it's like, no, there are companies that will help do that. Obviously, you need to compensate them, but generally at the end of the day, you're going to make money to contribute to whatever it is needed for. And like, that's super cool to think. Like, because I was thinking I was going to be asking you like, oh, well, do people ever just sell their house as is with all this stuff in it? I feel like that's a terrible idea, but
it does work to do it that way. You make
someone's going to love
money.
all the antiques.
Yes, you make a lot less money. A lot of times you're selling it to someone that's not invested in going like emotionally.
They're a flipper. They want to clear it out, fix a few things and make their money, which is fine.
Yep.
But they're definitely going to sell it less because they don't care about the value of the stuff.
Yeah.
And they also see that as a net cost because they're going to have to pay someone to empty the house out.
Yep.
Right. So why not get paid on both ends? Hire an estate sale company.
Exactly.
Like, this is cool. Do you think it's cool? Leave a comment.
And the other thing too is with it being emotionally charged, I think a lot of times people don't realize like, once you see somebody throwing your parents' stuff into a dump trailer, it's like shocking for a lot of people. It hits really hard. You're like, oh my gosh, this was their whole life. And now it's going to the dump. Like, whereas doing the estate sale, a lot of times, like having the home staged, that's one of my favorite things to do is bring the family in before the sale, but after we've staged it. Because it just shows that we're trying to honor their parents and to honor the life that they lived, right? And it really does feel almost like a museum. I know that sounds kind of weird, but it allows the family to grieve in a different way of like, okay, this was their whole livelihood. They've lived in this home for 70 years, right? And now somebody else is just going to come in and, paint it all white and make it sad. I saw the Home Alone house. That went up for sale. It was like probably 6 months ago or so. So sad. Like all the beautiful wood. It
doesn't look like.
No, everything's painted white and it's so like emotionless and sad. And I'm all for updating homes. Right?
Yeah. If you've got old ugly wallpaper, maybe you can get rid of that.
Yeah.
Or get new ugly wallpaper.
Exactly. Find a way to highlight it, right? Like bring color back into home design. And I think there's kind of a resurgence in that, but like embrace the whimsy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
embrace your strawberries.
Yes. That's probably one of the things that I've enjoyed most about like growing up is like, oh, I can be whoever I want.
Yeah.
And
it's
people are going to love me.
You can do whatever you want.
Yes.
You can change any day.
It is. But also like people are going to love me for me. And if they don't, then they don't belong in my life. Like,
yeah.
And with that being said too, like that's the joy of being able to do real estate how I want to. Like I'm able to do this estate sale side, piece of it and able to do the thrifting stuff and the reselling. Like that's one of the joys of my life. I find a lot of joy in digging through people's old stuff.
Yeah. We need people that enjoy everything.
Yes.
Right? Like as sad as it is, we need people that enjoy doing insurance. As gross as that is, right? Like we need all the different types of things. I'm really grateful
there's people that like cleaning my teeth. And I can't. Thank you for being willing.
Dentists.
Because I would never. Mouths gross me out. Like,
Yeah. Or like podiatrists. I'm glad there's doctors that deal with feet because I think feet are just disgusting.
Yep. Yeah.
Feet are,
agreed.
Yeah. Except sometimes like newborn baby feet. They're cute.
Right. But that's different.
For like 6 months.
They don't touch the ground. So
Yeah.
it's cute.
Yep. Until your kid steps in dog poop and then feet aren't cute anymore.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay.
Back on track.
Yeah, it's good. I feel like I've asked a lot of these questions or in various ways. Does it really ever make sense to just sell a property as is? I know I've kind of hinted on that before.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it generally is never going to make sense to you. Like there's always a better alternative if you can manage the emotions.
Yeah. So let me tell you about a home in Springville that my mom was helping with the estate sale on. Old home, like I want to say 1960s or maybe older. 40s to 60s.
Europeans, that's not that old, but for Americans, that's an old
very
house.
old, especially in Utah.
Especially in Utah.
The problem with it is the utilities have been shut off for years.
Oh.
So no water, no electricity running through the home. The mother was a hoarder, like in the very truest sense, like
stacks of newspapers and
less so newspapers, more glassware. So just like boxes and boxes and boxes of depression glass.
Is there uranium glass?
So much. Yeah, insane amounts. So essentially what my parents did is in this situation, they did end up selling the house as is once my parents had gone in and done the clean out. So in this situation, it was a huge lot in downtown Springville. I want to say over an acre.
Wow.
And it was bought by a developer, right? And they were planning on building some newer homes. Again, I love old homes. I love finding a way to save old homes. But in this situation, anytime you have utilities shut off and nobody's been living in the home, you've got animals, you've got, food that's gone bad. It's really hard to salvage
Water
it.
damage, seepage,
exactly.
holes in roofs that you might not be aware of.
All
raccoons,
kinds of stuff. Yes.
Rats,
bats. Feces. There's just all kinds of stuff. So in that situation, it did not make sense for a flipper to buy the home. It was, okay, we're selling it to a developer. And one of the sons was an estate attorney. So he has that background, knows, that part of it. But the good thing with it was, again, we were still able to go in and clean out the home. We safety-wise could not do an estate sale in the home because, again, you have no lighting. You have, stairs that are compromised. You have, bad air that you're breathing because there's animal feces, things like that. And so we ended up doing like a full clean out, removing the items, moving them to a different location and doing like an outdoor sale, which is way more work. Again, you're not going to be compensated as the seller because the buyer's having to do a lot more work in that situation. So you're not going to be compensated as much as, if you were able to do a sale in the home. But again, that's still another good option.
Yeah.
There was a lot of garbage left. The good thing is the home was being demolished, and so they didn't have to worry about cleaning out the garbage, right? One of the things that they do offer a lot of times is what's called a broom clean out. So essentially everything gets broom cleaned, right? When they're done with the sale. So they do offer clean out services as well. So it's kind of a different, there's different options for whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes the family wants to do the clean out themselves. They want to see what's left. Sometimes they want to divvy up what's left, right? But a lot of times they just, at that point, are ready to sell the home and need it cleaned out all the way. So
yeah. Wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the house wasn't condemned or something.
It
Or maybe
probably
it
would
was.
have been. Yeah, it probably would have been if, there was anyone attempting to live there. But yeah, it was.
Wow. But it's nice to know that it was being demolished. Well, not nice to know. It's sad, but
yes,
being demolished
But,
is
I mean,
probably for the best.
it was crazy. My mom found items that she had sold to this lady in the 90s with the receipt still in the bag, wrapped up in a closet. I mean,
Yeah, that's some intense hoarding.
Yeah, it was. And again, we were able to find a way to honor her in that all of her things got distributed to different people that were going to love them.
Yeah.
Right? And for me, that's really important. I had a friend send me a reel the other day of, there was this house that was haunted because there was things left in it, and honestly, I have never felt that way, with things. We joke every time we're prepping for an estate sale, if, the wind blows something and knocks something over, the homeowner's pissed off that we're, messing with their stuff. But honestly, we really do try to honor the homeowners and the previous owners of this stuff. And I feel like that goes a really long way. I've never had like a negative experience. They've all been very positive of, oh, she would have loved what you've done and appreciated that you took such care. And I think that's important.
Yeah. Cause sometimes it is emotional handling, right? Like that house, they probably could have sold it as was.
Oh yeah.
With all the stuff in it, and they would have just demolished and trashed it all anyways. But it's like, it's important that they wanted to honor their mother a certain way.
Exactly.
And having an estate company, that's just so cool. Like to honor that and be like, we're going to get these items to people that care about it. Like people, I know people that are obsessed with uranium glass. I think it's the coolest thing. Yeah. I like pictures of it. I don't know if I'm going to ever get any. I'm kind of in this minimalist phase of my life where I'm just like, I want to throw away all of my stuff. And my wife's like, you can't throw away your wedding suit. And I'm like, okay, fine. That makes sense.
It really makes you question how much stuff you're keeping.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure doing estate sales really helps with that.
You're like, okay,
it's like a nice barometer.
Yes. Do I really need 20 pairs of scissors? No.
Yes. I'm just kidding.
No. I don't. Maybe 2 or 3, right? But yeah, it's quite enlightening for sure.
Yeah. But sometimes it's fun to open an old MRE that you find that's expired and try to just taste it to see what happens to that pretzel or that dehydrated beef stroganoff.
Yeah. No. Gross.
It's fun. Yeah. It's fun seeing that.
Yeah.
Wow. I imagine this has already been answered, but if leaving items in the home generally isn't going to help the sale, it's hard because I feel like with home, right, someone needs to be able to see themselves living in it.
Exactly.
So getting all the things out is definitely going to improve the prospects of selling because people need to see them. I think that's probably why it's popular to paint everything white is because like, well, people don't, right? But you just need the right type of people that care about character.
For sure. Well, and I think it just goes to show that you're essentially giving them a blank space to come in and make their own, right? And staging can go a long way for sure, right? You can stage a home and make it feel homey, right? Without needing to do a ton of renovation or things like that. But I think leaving, 1980s furniture in a home versus bringing in a professional stager, that changes the vibe.
Yeah.
Even if it's an older home, even if, maybe the kitchen's dated, well, bringing in a modern dining table and chairs and a cute rug and, some fresh flowers, things like that can really make a difference versus the 1980s dining table that I'm sure you're all envisioning, an oak table with, spindle chairs. Like,
I don't know what that company is that everyone used to buy tables from. The ones that like slid out. I love those tables. But yes, there's also the other ones that I'm like, that's antiquated. But but some of them are classic and timeless. But
for sure. But again, it's bringing in a stager can really make a difference for that, right? Because you're helping people see the potential of the home versus, okay, this home's stuck in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And all I see is a grandma home.
It's true. Because I when I was looking at houses, one of the houses I looked at was a house that was built in like 74.
Yeah.
And the original couple that had bought and built the house, custom built, like it was weird. Like there was a hot tub in the master bathroom.
Love it.
With carpeted floors.
Love it.
It was something else. And also it had slanted ceilings. So the ceiling went from like 8 foot to like 4.5 feet right over the tub. It was the weirdest thing. And like same thing, like the kitchen was like 8 foot. And then like near the edge where the window was, it was only like 5.5 feet or something like this. Like I hit my head on the ceiling walking through the kitchen. I'm like, this is a weird house, but they built it themselves. And, like in the set. But it was also like all of the old furniture and things and like it was just a weird vibe and obviously we didn't like it, but like I imagine staging could have theoretically helped that house because it's like, I can put a modern thing in here. It's like, maybe that appeals to the right person, but it's generally not like more open concept. Anyways, that's cool. Well, this has been awesome. I've really appreciated being able to talk about estate sales particularly because I don't know a lot about them, like seeing the vision of how that can help people both pass on belongings to people that will care about them or enjoy them, make some money to help care with their parents, and also get emotional help in dealing with siblings, fighting about specific things, or like this is all just useful, I think. And things that are worth thinking about, especially when people are.
Let me just give you like a quick synopsis of what that process looks like from like A to Z. So let's say, grandparents move out of the home, whether that's they've passed away or they're moving into assisted living, things like that. Siblings come in, the best thing to do again is to figure out what things you're going to distribute to family members, clean out papers, photographs, personal family items, right? From that point, essentially I would get out everything from the home that is going to a family member. Or if you can't do it that way, put everything in one room that is not going to be for sale, essentially. And from that point, call the estate sale company, have them come in and do a consultation. And again, there's different options. Some of them are commission-based, some are an hourly based, depending on what, the situation is. Most of the time from, our perspective and what Pinstripe Estate Services, we want a $10,000 to $15,000 in sales minimum. So if there's not enough stuff in the home to sell $10,000 to $15,000, it's not worth our time to do a sale, right? At that point, the commission just doesn't break down to be worth it. Yeah. So that kind of gives you an idea, right? Most people don't know what that means and don't know how to gauge that at all. And so again, that's why having the consultation with one or two companies is really going to benefit you to understand, the different options. From there, essentially the best way to go about it is to not allow anyone else in the home after the contract is signed with the estate sale company. And the reason I say that is sometimes things that were supposed to be part of the sale no longer are. So maybe somebody comes in and takes the coin collection, or there's guns, right? A lot of times it's kind of those emotionally charged
firearms.
Yes. And the good thing about working with Pinstripe Estate Services is my parents have their FFL license, so they can sell firearms. Nice. So if there's almost always, especially
in Utah.
Yes. Ammunition, those kinds of things. So from that point, it's best to not have anybody else in the home, hand the keys over to the estate sale company, obviously keep a spare, right?
Yeah.
But, we've had to change locks on homes.
Wow.
We've had to, make sure that set up security cameras and make sure certain people are not coming in the home. It can get very charged for sure. And then from there, right, we will come in, stage the home, which, like I said, pull everything out of drawers, cabinets, get it cleaned up quite a bit, get rid of garbage. Sometimes we will have to rent a dumpster. Sometimes, we can just, clean out as much as needed. And then from there, we'll price everything, hold the sale. So it's usually 2 to 3 days. Usually 2 days is kind of the standard, Friday and Saturday weekend sale. We recommend the homeowners and family members do not attend.
Show up. Yeah. It's stressful to see everyone walking through your house, taking your grandpa's loafers and suits and ties.
It's very stressful. From there, we will, close up the house. And again, depending on which package you choose, whether that's, the full clean out or, leave the items, we'll go in and take our tables and chairs and supplies out. If we are doing a full clean out, like I mentioned before, the broom clean. So every room will be empty, the floors will be swept, and it'll be essentially ready for cleaners to come in and do a deep clean. At that point, you can work with your real estate agent to get the home listed. I always recommend working with an agent, throughout this process, but at that point, it's probably a good idea to bring in, whether it's make it market ready or just, paint, carpet, staging, that kind of stuff, and get the home listed and sold.
Wow. So that's a great synopsis.
Little synopsis.
No, and I like it's just so cool to me because you can see it's just cool to think because a lot of people are so used to just having one person that does one thing.
Yes.
Right. But it's cool to think how I doubt there probably are, not that the point is being that, but it's for this situation, what better could it be than going through you? Cause it's you've got this and your mom does that company and you help with it. And you've got these access with these people that can wait, do repairs before, and then get paid when it closes. And right. It's just this whole, cause I especially deal with sometimes where example right now with my taxes, this is totally unrelated, but it's a similar concept. I've got my guy doing my taxes and I've got my financial planner reviewing it. And they both keep on being oh, I need this or I need this. And I have to freaking field stuff between both of them to get it finalized because I want it done a certain way. And it's oh, it'd be nice if those two were the exact same person. Because then I don't have to stress about communicating all these different ideas, especially with something as emotional as dealing with, the loss, all the emotion there. Having 3 more people you have to talk to is hard. So that's why I thought this is perfect. Especially after you consulted with my mom and was talking about that with her parents' house. I'm just oh, this is perfect. This is great. But thank you so much for coming on. This has been eye-opening to me. I hope you've all enjoyed it too. if people are interested. Obviously, we'll put it all in the description, links for Pinstripe Sales and Confetti Antiques and Books.
Yes.
And obviously, Devere Wilkey.
Thank you.
But if people want to find you just verbally listening to it, how can people get a hold of you best?
Yeah, Wilkey Homes on Instagram is going to be the best way.
Wilkey Homes, Wilkey Homes.
Yes, with an S, Homes. And that's usually where I'm the most active. On social media. And obviously send me a text, shoot me a phone call. I, like you, answer my phone. That's one of the things I try to pride myself on is answering my phone. And yeah, I would love to help answer any questions. Again, the good thing about it is if you don't know where to start, reach out to someone that does, and we would be happy to guide you through it. I think that was one of the most insightful things when my grandparents died is my dad's parents had set everything up with the funeral home. Like it was ready to go. We had a specific person to talk to. And then a few years later, my mom's parents had died. They did not want to face the fact that they were dying. And so it was really hard because we didn't have that plan with the funeral home, and it made it a little bit more difficult. So we didn't have like a specific person to talk to. I mean, obviously they were very helpful at the mortuary, but having someone specific to talk to about those questions and to guide you through it can be hugely beneficial. And then they're kind of bearing the weight of those decisions versus you having to do it when it's so emotionally charged.
Yeah. Then you can worry about the most important thing, like who's going to get grandpa's gun,
Yeah.
right? Instead of having to worry about all the
other
fine
things.
details.
Yeah. So, okay.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me know if you have any other questions. I'd be happy to answer those as best I can. So
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Devere.
Yeah.
Always exciting to have you on.
I appreciate it. Always good to be here.